right?
I certainly can. All right. It's
I'm
probably
not
a,
sure if you were on before when I mentioned, Kev, that my the headset I'm using right now went through the wash last week,
oh
and my proper
no.
headset that I normally use is missing in action in the move.
Oh
So,
no. Oh, that's
but it seems to be working. Like I'm surprised that after getting going through my trouser pocket through the wash, it's still doing okay.
yay. Yeah, you're ringing a bit tinny, but that's just I guess the echo of your of the place you're.
And the room I'm in is a bit of it's a bit of an echo in this room because it's just like big heavy floorboards and nothing else.
Oh
So
well. Right. Well, I haven't quite figured out how to make this bit work yet, but I don't suppose anyone and I don't imagine anyone will be able to hear what I'm about to do. But let's just try it anyway. I'm assuming not, right? No.
what do you no, we can't hear anything.
No,
What
I
are you
haven't.
trying to put the intro on it or something?
I tried, but it didn't work. Well, no one else can hear it, but it'll still come through. So fuck it. You just have to listen to me dance unnecessarily. I'll edit it in post.
Edit in post, that's right. Famous last words.
Okay, all right. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Lost of Lieutenant. We are back and we are live on Discord for episode. I don't know what episode we're on. What episode are we on, Nick?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's got to be slightly above 50. I'm
It's
going to
just slightly.
say. Let me just jump onto the.
Anyone in the live chat probably want to tell us, maybe, I don't know, 54, 56? Does that sound right?
I don't think we've done 6 episodes since we did our last live with Austria.
All right.
Surely we
I've
haven't
been
done
I've
that
been
many,
I've been
but
reliably informed it's episode 56. Yeah, 56. It's been confirmed. 56 is the episode. Welcome back, listeners, to another exciting episode of Lost Lieutenant. On tonight's show, you are joined by myself, Kevin, and as you just heard there, Nick. And as I said
Nick
before,
is here as well.
Nicholas
Yeah,
is here.
so
And on tonight's
we got
episode,
some
oh
we got
sorry,
some really
Nick.
exciting. Yeah, I was sorry, just
Fuck,
going to jump
you
in
are
and
going to jump
interrupt you
in
there
on me.
because
Yes, okay. The wonders of live
yeah,
radio.
to let you know that as I'm sure you're aware, Kev, but we've got some really exciting stuff which to talk about, which is like this plastics and all this information from the new what's it called, the new studio update that they recently did. But the main thing that we want to talk about is this new thermoplastic Ceocast that's coming down the pipe from CB. So
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get advanced release of the CB's first thermoplastic miniature, the new Vostok, for Nomads. So I'm holding up a bit of it right now for people to have a look at. And yeah, as you said as well, we're also going to do the usual preamble and check in. So Nick, what's been happening?
well, as I mentioned before, I'm in the middle of moving house right now, and Melbourne has just entered into another lockdown. So in terms of gaming, not that much gaming um, for me. But I have been getting into the swing of things up at Axes and Ales to get a game in almost every week when we are able to go there, which is great. I've been really enjoying heading up there and having a couple of drinks and getting on the gaming as well. So.
Yeah, it was great. It's we're into lockdown number 6 or lockdown 5.1, as some people said, because we never actually came out of the 5th one. It's fuck you, Sydney. But we, through the power of technology, we can still gather and we can still have a bit of a laugh. Yeah, Axes and Nails only just got started back up again after the last lockdown, and then they plunged back in again. So hopefully this one will get out this in a couple of weeks.
I managed to get a game in at the one session that they had before we had to shut down again. So.
Oh yeah, good. No, I do love that place. Axes and Nails. Shout out to Viv from Knights of Dice. He does wonderful terrain, and you should all check him out.
Yeah.
Actually,
So I had it was actually a really great game that I recently had at Axes and Nails with Kirby, who was playing Corregidor, Nomads, which is pretty new for him. What he was telling me was that he's got a mate who's big into painting, but not much on the gaming side of things, and doesn't have the I guess the maybe doesn't have the sand quite to commit to fully dedicating himself to Infinity, but absolutely loves the models. So he's got a mate who's painting up all the Gregor stuff, which Kirby's going to field at BCB when it comes along. So it was my White Banner versus his Regidor, and I've played Kirby loads of times before, and when he told me that he was playing Corregidor, I was like certain that he had said Caledonians because I know that he plays Caledonians. So then
Mm-hmm.
when he started deploying and like puts down all these nomad units, like he puts the first thing he puts down is the mission that we played is capture and protect.
Yep.
So it's like capture the flag type thing, right? The very first thing that he does is take a model and roll his dice to infiltrate past the midline, right? And
That'll be a
forget the name
bandit.
of them. It was one of those things that's got a repeater and does
Oh
not have
wow.
camo state.
Okay, so he
The
was just gonna go
It's a
like,
Milan.
yeah, just gonna throw
Emerald,
it
yeah,
straight
that's
into your
right.
butt.
That's it. And so it throws it straight up there. It puts like yeah, it's like I've got a Moran, I'm infiltrating. I'm like, wait, what faction are you playing again? Because I was sure by that point that when he told me Corregidor, what I heard was Caledonians because I played against him with Caledonians previously. So and he told me like I'd had that in my brain for like 2 days from the day before when he told me that he did tell me he was playing Corregidor, but I just read it as Caledonian. So I
It
came into
starts
this
with C.
game
I mean, sure, it's
exactly.
an easy thing to mistake to
It's
make.
it's got a similar number of syllables. It
Ryan
They
it's
both
isn't
have Mac Murder.
Ryan isn't known for his like monogamy when it comes to factions. So it's fair. It's fair to think that he would have played something
yeah.
completely. You know, yeah, yeah, fair enough.
But like I mean I've played him in pretty much every one of the factions that he plays, right? But I'd never seen him play nomads. So for him to start dropping down nomad units, I just had like a whole brain like complete brain fart thinking, what is actually happening here? Am I is this the same game that I'm looking at that I'm
I
looking
think
to play? So
clearly showing your I don't know, I was going to say age, but not age isn't the right word. Not even inexperienced because that sounds disingenuous, but just being like,
Rust.
what is there some other faction out there that maybe is a mixture of nomads and Caledonia? Is that what
that's
was going through your head?
that's a hundred
N
percent.
two,
Yeah.
is there an N2 army that has Morans in it?
All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just for the benefit of our audio-only audience, we have had a couple of people join the chat, so you'll probably recognise the voice of Jacob there, and we did have our local Ben there, who's not a member of the podcast, but he decided to just come on in and just start chatting, which is fine. Welcome, Ben. We didn't mention before if you come on if you can mute yourself, but of course, thank you, Ben, for helping us out there with the Caledonia information. But carry on, Nick.
Yeah, so it was a super clutch game actually. The first turn, so Kirby went first, and he just like gave me a proper right punch in the nose. Right, just took out his first turn. I reckon he killed 5 different things. Right, and so at that, like going into my first turn, I'm already on the back foot, and I'm like, okay, I've lost all of these different things. What am I going to do to sort of re-establish my position and then try and scrape through and get something out of this game, right? Because he really gave me a solid kick in the teeth in his first turn. It was a really solid alpha strike and just sort of picked apart the pieces that I'd left out, which I probably didn't need to have left out as much as I did.
What did he end up removing at the start?
I took out both my monks. He took out Liang Kai because everyone does.
Yeah, poor Liang Kai. He's such a
Yeah.
great profile, but he just doesn't live past turn
Um,
one.
he took out. I had a not a Rushi, a Luduan. I had a Luduan pretending to be a Rushi. He took that out. And there was maybe one other thing I can't remember exactly, but like basically I had a good solid chunk of my list taken out in his first turn.
Why were your monks standing with the dicks out?
Well, they
Great
weren't
question,
too
Jacob.
far out, but they were far enough out to be taken out in
We can just put it down to the
short
beer.
order, sort of thing.
We can just put it down to the beer that you're consuming during the game,
And
shall we
like I
not?
mean,
So.
it wasn't the table itself was it had like a lot of nice large pieces of terrain on it, but it didn't have many smaller pieces and not much scatter. There was
Yeah,
almost no
that
scatter on there as well. And
as
when there's no scatter, it means that you don't really have that much to necessarily hide behind, um,
yeah,
because
some of
you don't
those some,
even if you're behind a big building, you still if someone comes around a corner, you're in the open.
yeah, no, some of those buildings from Axes and Nails have a tendency to have lots of buildings, but nothing really very small. So what that ends up meaning is that you might have 3 or 4 buildings in your DZ that you can hide in and around, but that's literally where your entire army is hiding in and around. So it tends to you kind of have to clump things up if you're going second. Or put things on rooftops, which is fine. But if you plan to move off the rooftop, then you're exposing yourself to fire as well. Yeah, I think I've said
And it,
before, some of those tables could do with a few bit more scatter.
so this
That's
is
exactly right.
in
Yeah,
real life game, just before lockdown, I'm guessing.
it was. Yeah.
You lucky duck.
So,
Thanks for tuning in on time, Jacob. This was this is, 2 weeks ago.
God forbid, because I was going to ask what army were you playing.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, so then I went into the start of my turn and basically did something that I normally reserve for turn 2 or 3, which was to use almost all of my command tokens to put everything into one group so that I could have at least a decent pool to try and come back from my position. And so I basically just turned around and was like, okay, like looked at a few different angles, tried to figure out what I can do here or there. I walked around to his side of the table with my Tiger Soldier in my hand. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm bringing on the Tiger Soldier. And spent a good 5 minutes trying to find like the perfect spot to drop this Tiger Soldier because of like these things that he had in all different places with mimetism and with mimetism next 6. He had quite a lot of that as well. And just like there was nothing there that I really had a really good shot to be able to take out. So I'm like, I'm just going to have to try and brute force something, or even try and do a little bit of finesse work with the Tiger Soldier. So I reckon I spent a good 5 minutes trying to figure out where I'm going to drop this Tiger Soldier. Found the perfect spot for him. I'm like, okay, he's got a 5-man castle linked him in one corner of the table, and then like a 3-man Harris with the 2 wound or the 2 structure remote and a couple other dudes in that Harris
the
with the 3 of
Volstock,
those.
the thing we're talking
And
about tonight.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. And so okay, maybe I can get it in a certain position to try and take out that. Not the 5-man link; it was too much of a hill. But the perhaps maybe try and pencil out pieces of the 3-man.
The 3-man, I'm assuming, just because I played Ryan with a similar list, I think it was a Vostok, Evader, Engineer, and a Jaguar.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
So, which is a pretty nasty combination.
Yeah, because you got the Engineer that can repair the Vostok.
Exactly. Yeah.
Evader's a decent gunfighter. You got Jaguar for CC and smoke.
And
It's pretty good.
I didn't realize when I took a look at the Vostok, it's immune to AP.
Yeah, it's a pain in the
Yeah.
ass.
So it is. Yeah, definitely. It's
This is
it's
strong.
nasty. It's nasty. Yeah. And now we've got a new special plastic. It's now comes in plastic. So
It's just easier to crush underneath your foot. That's all it is. That's what it is now.
And so I literally spent about 5 minutes trying to figure out where I'm going to put the Tiger Soldier. Then I had I had an Evo remote, so I buffed the drop, so I needed a 15, rolled a 16.
Oh, bummer.
So I'm like, okay, well he just walks in from the side of the table then, over on my end of the board. So, looks like Julian's jumped
Oh
on
no.
well.
Okay, quickly get your story finished because you're not gonna get any word in edgewise in a second.
And so from that point, I'm like, okay, I've got one option left here, which is my 5-man link with the Shang-Chi APHMG, and I'm going to walk up the table and throw bullets at you until I don't have any more bullets to throw, basically. And so that's what I did. But I managed to do it quite successfully. Took out a couple of the pieces. He had maybe one or two pieces of his link team standing up. Managed to take both of those out. There was a just like a regular dude with a sniper rifle. Took him out with the APHMG, and then a couple more pieces in the midfield that I managed to take out with that link team. And then by the end of my turn, I had moved them up to the center of the table and just sat them there. And we spent the next 2 turns flogging blows back and forth until it came around to the final turn, where I still had a decent amount of things alive on the table, and so did Kirby, but he had a bit more of a bloody nose than I did. But he was nowhere near my console. I was nowhere near his console, and he still had a 5-man link sort of standing around it. So at the end of my third turn, sorry, at the start of my third turn, I had one model very close to his HVT, and so I realised that and was like, I'm not going to spend any more orders because if I finish the game right now, I achieve secure the HVT, and you don't get your classified, so I won 1-0.
Oh, and Capture and Protect ended the way it so often ends, with
Right.
nobody scoring anything because nobody can.
No one touching any points because everyone's castled up too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, 1-0 on. It wasn't even my proper classified objective. It was the secure the HVT. But it was funny how it happened. My classified objective was the one where you have to touch an enemy unconscious model and pass a whip check.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a model standing right next to his Vostok, and I was like, "Oh, which was unconscious at that point. If I walk up and touch it and roll the whip roll, I'll get like 2 or 3 arrows from different directions, and I'll get one chance at it." And I was thinking about it, and then Kirby looked at me and said, "Was like, what are you thinking about? You're already getting the HVT because you're standing right next to it. You don't need to get your actual classified because you can get secure the HVT." I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." So that's how the game ended.
Something, yeah, it's a good point. Something that often gets overlooked, or at least several players overlook that when they're trying to do their classified, and then you're like, oh wait, hang on, I can just do the easier classified. It's just secure HVT. So great.
Yeah. What about you, Kev?
Uh,
Any games recently?
so I had a couple of games of Code One on TTS because I've got a bit of a hard on for. Oh, here we go. Hi, Julian. How you going, buddy?
Dumplings.
Oh, there, yeah. Okay, Julian. I heard you trying to play some stupid music, and that's why I muted you.
Oh, that was a mistake. That was actually me
So I'm
walking
going to
into.
unmute you now. I don't want you to blast the whole chat with some inane theme song from an 80s movie. Okay,
No, that was
that's not going to
me.
happen. So I'm unmuting you now.
Hey, Julian, can we see more than your forehead? Would that be nice? You've got a lovely forehead, but we'd like to see the rest of it. Hello.
I can't see which way the fucking camera facing. Hang on.
Does
Doesn't
anyone
matter.
have a mum or a dad a bit like Julian when it comes to technology? I think that's pretty.
Yeah, no, I'm making dumplings.
FaceTime, and the camera just slowly gets lower and lower and lower, and like further tilted upwards as the video goes on.
Yeah. Here you go. I'll turn it around now. See, look, my dumplings.
No. Oh yeah. Oh, lovely.
Don't judge the dirty stove. I cooked bacon and eggs this morning. You know how that can be.
I guess. Anyway, so
Okay, and
we're.
as always, Julian, thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry about the music before. I was walked into the living room and I just turned the speaker
Julian,
on.
I've muted you again.
Oh,
No, I don't think it worked. I don't think we can mute him. Anyway, so we are currently live on Discord, Julian, and I'm also recording this for an episode. So, yeah, no, it's gone. All right,
cannons.
excellent. Right, so I was about to say I've been playing a couple of games of Code One, so getting quite excited about playing Code One since the Nomads and Ariadne factions dropped, and I've actually been playing a few games of Code One with Ariadne. So had
Oh,
yeah,
nice. Because that's our current monthly
exactly,
challenge
yes,
is to play a
yeah.
game of Code One.
Yeah, our current monthly challenge is to play a game of Code One. So I played a couple of games over the weekend with a couple. Sorry, no, was it the weekend or was it earlier in the week? It might have been earlier in the week actually, with a couple of locals from Melbourne who we haven't actually seen around in a while. Chris and David. So they neither of them have played many games of N4. And I don't think any games of Code One. So it was good. It was good fun. Yeah, took a couple of games of Firefight. I took all of the 2-wound models I could find in Ariadne. So it's like,
Sure.
Wallace and Wolfgang and the Cosmo Soldat and the Bear Pod and Caden. And like they've actually got a lot of 2-wound models in Ariadne, and they all slap. Like they all like short range, but Jesus Christ, like they all have +2 inch to their dodge. High fizz, really really fun to run around the table. So yeah, I played a couple of games there. I think it was a game against, was it Pano? No, I think it might have actually been no two games against O12. So that was heaps of fun. 25 points. Highlights of the game were, you know what? Actually, most of the highlights of the game were like forgetting things that don't exist in Code One. Is kind of the thing that we noticed where where like I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, like not being able to use guts to fall prone. So like you've got a guy standing in the ARO, or no, a good example was I had Wallace who had like blitzed up the left flank on my first turn, engaged a couple of pieces, put a couple of pieces down, tried to kill a beta trooper but ran out of orders. And then in his turn, he moved his beta trooper, climbing plus up onto the wall, up the top of the wall, and then like got into Wallace's back arc, and just kept shooting him with an SMG until he died. And because I couldn't fail guts, I just had to keep hoping that I dodged to turn Wallace around, but he never did. So then Wallace just died. But that was a very effective way of getting rid of Wallace because he's pretty damn good. Like a BS13 +1 damage AP rifle, is quite nice. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun playing with Ariadne, running like Tank Hunter. Like one list was like a whole bunch of fast, speedy, close combat stuff, and then the second list I ran was a whole bunch of camo, so like more typical Ariadne. But like as a player, as someone who doesn't play Ariadne, I had a lot of fun running Usha and Tank Hunters and chasseurs and stuff like that. And we managed to play 2 games in like just over 2 hours, which was also
That's the amazing part about Code One, right? I mean,
yeah.
for it does have some misgivings, particularly for people who are like purists for the full version of the game. But the fact that you can play it is so quickly, and it's just like so streamlined. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
and that was with two players who were pretty new to the game, and on TTS, which can take a little bit longer. But yeah, it's a fun game, and I think people, at least the feedback I got from players who I've played games against, have said like it's a shame that they feel like they're getting pushed into playing N4 too quickly. Like they'll play a couple like games of Code One and then be like, okay, right, let's do N4. Or what will happen is people will come into the game, immediately start wanting to play N4 because they don't know Code One exists, which I guess is, I don't know if that's just a problem on CB's point of view, or the community that they're in, that they don't push Code One more. Because I think there's a lot of Julian.
Sorry, you still there?
I'm still there, but I'm just Julian's, I don't know, doing something. Yeah, I don't think there's enough. Yeah, Julian, can you mute yourself?
Yeah, I'm still with you. I don't know why that fuck happened. Anyway, I was going to say, I played Ryan the other day in a game. He fucking smashed me.
Yeah, get good, scrub.
Yeah, I know. It's what happens. I played assassins for the first time.
I'm sending Julian a message saying that we do not want your dumplings on stream. Thank you.
Hang on.
You don't want my
Wait,
nuts on stream.
hang on. Why are we moving on? I hadn't actually finished talking yet. I just was trying to tell Julian to mute himself because all I can hear is him.
No one's moving on. It's just you and me, Kev.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was all really wanted to say, I guess, was just like a little bit on that Code One, and I think people, yeah, it'd be good to see more people try it, and if they don't like it, that's fine. But if they at least give it a try and push newer players into playing it a bit more, I think would be good for the community. Because yeah, I just seen a lot of players a lot of players just kind of not want to play it at all, and I think there's a lot of useful reasons why Code One exists. I mean, CB put all this energy into making the game, and it doesn't get any play. Now, now there are like problems with the game, actually with the army as well, because like Ariadne needs to be updated on the list a little bit. But yeah, I'd like to see more people play it, which would be great.
I mean, to be honest, I'm sure this makes great live content, but while you've been talking there, I've just been checking out the Code One army builder for Ariadne because I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. And there's some pretty nice options here, and everything that's in here is like what makes up the core of basically. You've got Rockets and the William Wallace and the things that are sort of featuring in the new book, which is also for N4, your Cosmoflot.
Yeah, I understand why people don't want to play it. Like veterans don't want to play it, and that's totally fine. Like that's fine. But it just, from what I've noticed, is there seems to be like people will come into the game store, or the game store, because we don't have a game store right now. We've just kind of got the online space where people ask, and the first thing they ask is, "What sectorial should I play?" or "What faction should I pick up first?" And people are going, well, it depends what sectorial you want to play. Like, oh, you can get this 300-point army box. I'm like, hold on, like, just take it back a step. We've got Wildfire, we've got Kaldstrom, and now we've got Crimson Stone. Why aren't those the places that people should be pushing people? Yeah, okay, sure, if someone wants to play Aleph, then tough shit. But there are other ways to go about it, and I feel like the conversation can sometimes be not... it doesn't start with Code One, it starts with other questions which then can be difficult to pull back to Code One. When you start talking about sectorials, you're immediately kind of pushing somebody away from Code One.
And I don't disagree at all. I think starting off with Code One is a perfect starting point, and I think we need, as veteran players, when you're dealing with someone who is a newer player, you need to be having the Code One conversation. You can't be forcing someone down the path of N4 before they're ready for it, because everyone who plays Infinity knows that there's a lot there, and to be able to have that on ramp of Code One, you should be taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of I think what I said before about Guts. I think Guts is there's definitely a few rules.
We've just had in the chat here, Abiscus has said that Code One plus Guts makes a fun, quick game. So, what are your thoughts, Kev?
I totally agree with Abiscus.
With Guts rules.
With Guts, because Guts is such an important part of N4 of Infinity. To remove it from Code One, it creates two problems. It creates a problem where you have to add a rule in when they go to N4, but it also completely changes how you play your games of Code 1. You're not leaving things up in ARO because you've got no way to get them to go prone until they die or until you pass a dodge roll. But when you're like 1 dice on 11s versus 4 dice on 13s, you're probably going to die before you pass that roll. So I think, what Abiscus said about adding Guts in would make it better for new players, but also better for veterans too, because I think that's something that veterans kind of miss about playing N4. And I think that's one of the fundamental problems with Code 1, is that it's a great on-ramp, but it's a great on-ramp, but then it very quickly when you get onto N4, you're suddenly on the autoban, and it's not, like, you haven't quite figured out how to drive fast enough to get onto the autobahn when you go from Code 1 to N4.
So what we need is some sort of code. Well, we go from Code 1 to N4, right? There's no steps 2 or 3. You go from step 1 to step 4.
It is a bit like that, but I guess the same problem with N3, right? Is we had N3 where you'd have these kind of because one of the reasons I like Code One is you in N3 we had these like various different systems that you could have to introduce players to N3, which was N3 minus links or N3 limited insertion or N3 no bigger than 3-man links. There's like a whole bunch of different ways in which people could teach you, and there wasn't one universal accepted way, which is now Code 1. But even then, Code 1 still feels slightly more watered down than it should be, I think, which then will now lead to people house ruling Code 1. So people will end up playing Code 1 differently in different areas of the world. So we're already talking about adding in guts, which could create, well, it doesn't create a problem, but it just removes the universal rule of Code 1 in order for people to want to pick it up as a beginner game. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
But I think the biggest issue is that we just need to be more willing to use the system with new players and not try and drive people straight to N4.
Yeah, and I think that's the point of the monthly challenge is like try it. Is just give it a try, even if you're not a new player, give it a try. If you don't like it, tell us why.
They've now added another 2 factions in there, a bit, because that was a lot of the biggest misgivings to begin with when you just had the 4 factions to start off with. People were like, well, I want to play Nomads. I want to play Ariadna. I mean, sure, we don't have Aleph or Akazlam as other main factions.
They'll be coming though, eh?
Exactly, and like we'll get to the point maybe this time next year where those 2 are then added in as well, and it's going to be a more robust system with every faction, every main vanilla faction that you'd want to look at.
Yeah, no, I agreed.
To join in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Since the inclusion of Ariadna and Nomads, it feels way more exciting. Maybe it's just because I got used to seeing the same 4 factions. So that's good. But yeah, that's really all I've been doing. Actually, no, I did get down to Geelong for a game with the Geelong guys just before we went into lockdown a couple of weeks ago. So I got to hang out with the Geelong crew, who we've been.
I just forever got like shit network connection.
Hello, who's this? Hey, is that Vizzy? Hey Vizzy, do you want to mute yourself, buddy? But welcome to the chat.
I've muted everyone in here. Is that not a universal mute? Is that just for me?
Probably just, I don't know. Maybe it's just for you. Don't know.
You can in Discord settings set it to mute everyone, but my specific and now users.
No, that's okay. Yeah, just make sure that everyone's muted, guys. If you jump in, mute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So the guys from Geelong, I've loved having them come up to Melbourne for tournaments and for games nights and stuff like that. They're all a really great bunch of guys. So I went down to Throw the Dice, which is a new store in Geelong, just to say hi. Ended up getting a game with Salty Dan, and it was a fantastic game. We played a mission that we're going to try it for Burn City Brawl. My Shaz Vasti versus his US Ariadna, and it was fantastic. He ended up beating me in the end. It was a really close game. Came down to the last, I think it was the last order. It was the idea of the game is where you had to kind of dominate the exclusion zone, and he had an unknown ranger and a desperado in there, and I had a Caliban and something else, Caliban and another unit in there, and they were holding on, dodging as he was shooting me with all of his guns, and I just kept dodging, and in the end, I managed to dodge around the corner, and he brought out another unit to try to deal with my Caliban, and I revealed my Speculo to kill one of his dudes, killed him. I was like, yes, I've got this, and then he runs his is it Marauder? I think it's a Marauder, and kills my Speculo, and because he killed my Speculo, that turned it from, it was a 7-3 win to me to a 7-3 win to him. And it was the exclusions, it was dominate exclusion zones. And because my Speculo went down, he ended up winning by, I think it was 4 points. He had 70 something, 80, say 78 points in his zone to 74 in mine. And it was great. So it was good to get down there before we were shut out. But those guys are back and playing games again, so congratulations to Regional Victoria for stamping out COVID once again. And hopefully we can get there soon.
One day.
That's it. I don't know if we still got Jacob and Julian in the chat today. I haven't seen Julian in a little bit. Julian's been a busy man. But is he?
That's right.
Is he even there?
Had himself a little baby. No, he's not. I think he left.
Oh, he's left.
He was making dumplings, and then I sent him a message saying that Julian, no one wants to see your dumplings on live chat on the stream. And he's like, oh, sorry, I kept joining by mistake. I'm like, okay.
He keeps doing things by mistake. I don't know if it's
Well,
did he have? Oh, sorry. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's not like it's like you. It's not a simple process to jump onto a live stream, right? To do it by mistake is quite the feat. So.
Yeah, definitely. Jacob, you still kicking around? Have you got anything you wanna update us on before we move on?
I don't think he's there either.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, we'll move on, guys. We will do. I was going to do my bit about the events that are upcoming, but Melbourne's in lockdown, so I don't know if these events are going to happen. Although, actually, we do happen to have a TO on the chat. Ben, do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of the event you were going to run on in a couple of weeks, but now can't because of lockdown?
So we were planning to have a Throwing Lounge tournament next weekend. It's going to have Supremacy, a custom mission called Season Vaccinate, which I'll put the rules to in the chat in the near future so people can have a look at it, and Firefight. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we can't have the event, so I've decided to just do a TTS League instead over the next few weeks. So we can get some Infinity in, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a great initiative by you, Ben. Well done for that. I haven't signed up to it yet because I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit. Because what is it? Is it one game every 2 weeks, or what's the crack?
Yeah, one game every 2 weeks.
Oh, actually, I think if it's one game every 2 weeks, I might be able to sign up for that. Sign up's closed tonight?
Yeah, sign-ups goes up tonight.
Okay, well, I should probably get my finger at my butt then and maybe do that after we do this episode. But yeah, so that's starting over the next. So that'll be over the next 6 weeks then, if my math is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Throw the Dice, which was supposed to be down in Geelong next week as well, or 2 weeks time, is being cancelled unfortunately due to COVID, which leaves Burn City Brawl on the 11th and 12th of September still going ahead for now. And for now. So we'll just keep your ears peeled, and we'll update you on any changes to that. But hopefully we can make it happen, because we're very excited and we've got all the prizes and everything. So it'll be a shame if it gets cancelled for a second year in a row, but not unsurprising given the situation.
Yeah. Now, Kev, I am probably not the best idea to do this live, but I'm just going to try and change one of the settings in this chat so that everyone gets muted when they join in.
Sure, okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just find out what we're actually talking about tonight, which probably people will be able to see as well on the old... Oh, actually, maybe not. On the old Chatteroony. Oh, wow, my internet's slow. Welcome to Australia, folks. Jesus. Alright, so we've got that. We've talked about that. Oh yeah, sorry, shit, yeah. So before we get into the main segment, I've got to also, we've already done this, but I want to announce the challenge announce the winner of the challenge that we had in July. Yeah, so we had a heap of entries for that challenge, by the way, so congratulations and thanks to everybody who submitted. We had, I think...
Just on that as well, I've been really enjoying the amount of engagement that we've been getting from these little challenges that we've been doing. So I think it's been a really great initiative that we've put in place, and we're going to keep at it, because it sort of gives something for the month. It gives something for everyone to focus on and think about and contribute to in a certain direction. So it's good to be able to, I guess, guide the conversation in that way.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good, and I'm just trying to find the person who won it because I can't remember it now. I'm really bad at this. Really, really bad. I can't remember who it was who won. I'm so prepared. So prepared. No, I don't even remember who won. It was an Australian person, so that's what I remember. Oh, here you go, Robert. There you go.
Well, while you're looking for
Robert.
that, Kev, I'll address one of the questions that's come up in the chat here, which is
Sure.
from Serendipity, who's asked, are there any factions beside JSA that one should warn new players about? So I think that should definitely be addressed, because the fact that JSA being a rough faction for new players is very much an N3 mentality, right? In N4, JSA changed a lot with the new changes to the rules and how they play, meaning that JSA. I mean, they don't at the moment. They don't have a massive number of different build archetypes that you can succeed with, but they are not the sort of pitfall trap for new players that they were in N3. The problem with JSA and N3 was that they were very much a finesse faction. You need to know what you were doing and know what you were dealing with in order to succeed with them. You could succeed with them, but it was not an easy thing to do. Whereas, and the reason why that was bad for new players was because the models were so gorgeous. And they were a faction that they had the box that came out with the when the Uprising book came out. They had their whole new army pack that came out with the re-sculpts of the models and everything when they split away from being part of Yujing. And that was a massive draw card, because people saw those models and they were like, yeah, samurais in power armor, yeah, these biker dudes, and it's Akira, and it's all the anime shit that I love because I'm a massive fucking weeb. People were drawn to that stuff, but because they would then try and play a game with that faction, get their teeth kicked in every single time because they didn't know what they were doing, it was probably even more of a detriment to the growth of the game at that time.
Yep.
But in N4, JSA are not in the same place that they were in N3.
They got a lot of love when N4 dropped.
Yeah, I'd still
a surprising amount of love, to be honest.
I'd still say that they're not. I still wouldn't push a player into playing JSA if they're brand new to the game, just because it's very limiting. So one of the problems that you have with JSA is they're an NA2 faction. So you buy JSA, cool. All the models you buy can only be used in JSA and Akari Company. So I would be pushing is too strong a word, but I would be guiding a new player into one of the main vanilla factions. So Pano, Nomads, New Jing, Hackaslam, any of those ones, perfectly good for a starter player.
As we were saying before, if you're a new player, you should be playing a Code 1 faction. You should be playing Code 1.
I agree.
If the faction's not in Code 1 and you're new, I would steer clear of it.
Yeah, I think that CB had a bit of a misstep by making that an army pack, and kind of it was really popular because, yeah, like you said, Space Knight, Space Samurai, really, really great. But you are somewhat limited. MO, seeing in the chat, it's sort of not. It's similar in a way in that. I mean, I think actually the Dice Abide just did an episode about this, so you can go and listen to them if you want to talk about vanilla versus sectorial. But if you start with MO, one of the issues with MO is if you start there and you decide, I think I'll branch out into, I think I might go to vanilla Pano. You kind of go, well, not many of the units in vanilla Pano there's not many of the MO units you're going to use in vanilla Pano. So whereas, if you've got one of the other factions, you've kind of got a bit more like NCA, for example, like, goes well into from vanilla as well. Acon, although they are discontinued army, aren't bad. Varuna have a lot of like useful, units like Crocmen and Zulu Cobra, but you go to MO and you've got Trinitarian tertiaries, which are only usable in MO. So there is that problem. Like JSA, you start with JSA, you're like, cool, I can pivot to Akari. So that's my issue with that. And yeah, like you said, Nick, I think you're better off trying to start a new player off on Code 1 armies, unless they're really, really, really keen on GSA, in which case you just have to be honest with what they would be, with the kind of the disadvantages of starting there, I guess.
What do we think about a new player starting? I'm just seeing in the chat on Drews.
No, don't, like, I would just be steering every new player away from any NA2 faction. Honestly, start with the vanilla variant of that faction, and then you can move to NA2. Like, if you love Starco for whatever reason, hey, play Nomads. You know, you get more shit.
Yeah. And like the only new player that wants to, this is going to be a pretty niche reference, I think, but the only new player that wants to play Drews is going to be like that character from Kung Pao Enter the Fist. We trained him wrong as a joke. He thinks when he's losing, he's winning.
I do know that.
Winning, therefore I win.
Yeah. So yeah. But thanks for that in the chat. I'm just going to go back briefly to what I was talking about before,
Did you manage to find that thing you were looking for, Kev, or did I distract you?
Yeah, no, I did find it. Yeah, so it was Robert Skeet from Queensland. He won the July challenge, but everybody who entered was excellent. I really enjoyed reading all of the stories, all of the hot takes, all of the feedback that we got from players. It was generally very positive. It's just fun to see people try new profiles and get some work out of them. I think I just really enjoyed reading everything that people submitted. So thanks to everybody for that. And then, as we said, yeah, our August challenge is play a game of Code 1. So we've done that bit. We were going to talk. Oh yeah, we were going to talk about the recent studio update as well. So I don't think there was a hell of a lot in there. I did watch it last night. So we had the. He obviously talked about the plastic stuff, which we're going to talk about tonight, and then he talked about tag raids. So what do you guys think about tag raids that we've revealed as seen so far? And people in the chat, they can talk about it amongst themselves as well. If there's any tidbits we'll talk about.
I mean, I backed Defiance. I backed Defiance at the whatever the top level was to get everything. It's not arrived yet. Apparently it's going to be shipping in the next 1 month or so. So because I got it with single shipping, right? So everything's going to come at once. I feel like this is going to be a bit more of a Defiance is self-contained in that it's a self-contained game, but everything in Defiance is used in N4, right? Everything's used in Infinity proper. If you got Defiance, you've also now pretty much got a full Shazvasti army, right? Whereas Tag Raid is a bit more niche. It's lower model count in terms of what you're actually going to be getting in the packets. Just from what I get,
4 tags.
It's like the four tags, that big worm, terrain, and things like that. I'm kind of on the fence. I was on the fence before. I'm still on the fence. I'm just going to have to wait and see. I know there is a video coming out soon of like a proper like demo game, and they're also going to be launching that demo game on TTS, which is pretty cool, I think. So I'll definitely jump on TTS and have a couple of games of it using that demo setup, just to see if I like it, if I like the feel of it. Will I get it? Maybe. Will I just wait until someone else I know gets it so I can play with them? Maybe as well.
Yeah, I'm with Obiscus there and saying that I'm looking forward to trying the TTS mod. I think that will be what a lot of people are waiting for to try it. I think people bought into Defiance for the miniatures. You're going to buy into Tag Raid for the game. They did mention that some of that they reckon the tags will be usable in N4. I don't know if that's actually confirmed, but I don't think that's enough for me to buy into Tag Raid. So we'll really be looking for its ability to be played as a game, as opposed to the quality and the usability of the miniatures.
Yeah. So and like Sand Ninja 76 on the chat says, the TTS demo will make or break it. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what a lot of people are sort of waiting on right now, to be able to have a go of see how the game plays and then make their decision from there. Unlike Defiance, where a lot of people would have bought Defiance to never intend on playing the game itself, right? They just wanted all those models. because almost all of those are pretty much exclusive to that Kickstarter, right? And they're
Yep.
all things you can use for Infinity. But tag rate's different.
Now, do we believe, and maybe someone can answer this in the chat, but has it been confirmed that the plastic that they're using for the tags and tag rate is the same plastic that this Vostok's made of?
It hasn't been officially confirmed, but it pretty much has been confirmed.
I mean, it would make sense, right, if they were to do that. So
They have said, and this is what Bostria said to us as well. I'm not sure if we can probably talk about this, but in the information that Bostria sent to us prior to the official announcement on the plastics was that big models that are coming out in the future are going to be made from this stuff. The tags in tag rate are big models that are coming out in the future.
yeah.
So if you put 2 and 2 together, tag rate is going to be in this new thermoplastics.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The worm looks cool. Like, it looks cool. Like, I really love the Pano tag, the bubble car. I'm really psyched about that thing. It just looks awesome. And when we start playing the game, that's gonna be my tag. That's my main. That guy. I want him. He's my guy. I don't know. Do you have a favorite? Does anyone have a favorite? What's their favorite tag out of that 4?
I like the Eugene tag because I like
It's the most
everything
boring of all the
Eugene.
tags. Yeah,
But,
sure.
Yeah, but it's also the one that looks like it would actually fit in a game of N4 though.
This
all
is
the
true.
other tags do fit the bill of these. This is mining equipment. This is not a military piece of military hardware. This is mining equipment.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Eugene one kind of straddles that line nicely.
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
interested to see them in N4, considering I don't imagine they'd be they're technically armed with anything to compete in N4. Anyway,
Yeah.
I like the Nomads one. I like the big bulky one.
Yeah, he's bulky. He's cool. I like the idea of converting them. Yeah, like that's a cool idea. To be used as other tags like proxies in the game. You know, like people modding, because if they're plastic, they're gonna be way easier to convert potentially. Which we'll talk about this guy in a sec as well and find out how easy he's gonna be to convert if you did so wish. Because that's one thing that you hear people talk about a lot with Infinity is the metal miniatures. I prefer plastic because I like to convert. I like to pose all my dudes. So it'll be interesting if you can do that to the new tags. Yeah.
We can talk about that later. We'll talk about that later because I've got a few thoughts on that as well.
Yeah. And Ben just shared in the chat the official cave crawler tag thingy N4 profile. Yeah, it looks real good. ARM 3 BTS 6. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is that real?
No.
I think that was
No, it's
it's copied off the tractor mule because it's armed with the Katushka and the Eurogun.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, I can't remember if there was much else said in that studio update. I'm trying to remember now. Don't think there was much
Although,
note.
I wonder what the hell you would call. It's got baggage +3. What the fuck would baggage +3 be? Because you don't have to roll for baggage or anything.
Oh yeah, true. I don't know.
It's just 11. You just get 11 inches instead of 8.
You get baggage +3 inches. Yeah, so baggage 12 inches. No, or 11 inches. I can't count. All right. Well, is there anything else we want to chat about, guys, before we move into the main segment?
No, let's move on.
All right, cool. Well, actually, I think we're getting into this now. Yep. All right, cool. I've already chatted about the code one, so we'll just get into this. All right, guys, this is what you're all hanging out in the chat for. I might turn my video off because the internet is a bit slow. Can everyone see this all right, or is it kind of looking a bit shitty quality? The video.
A bit potato at the moment.
It's rubbish right now. It was when we first started. It was real good though. It was real crisp.
It was good.
But that could also be because we've now got 30 people in the channel.
Okay, right. I'm gonna turn my video off and see if that improves things. I don't know if anyone else wants to. I don't know if Jacob. I don't know. Can I can't see your face, Jacob. But I'm assuming you are there.
Yeah, Jacob's on video.
Okay, for some reason, yeah. Discord's pretty shit sometimes, right? All right, guys.
Oh, so it sorted me for you behind everyone else who's not talking and not video. Thanks, Discord.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's like, yeah, you're not even there. We're like,
This is
let
what I
me just
get for
grab this.
getting dinner.
Let me just grab this and like, or oh, also, how cool is this, by the way? Like, watch this.
Oh,
Ooh.
you're gonna do the mirror thing.
Whoa! It's like all mirrors all the way down, all the way down. Sorry. Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah. So the thing, so yeah, I know we've got everyone here in the live chat, which is great, but on the video that you're recording, Kev, it will be in better quality than, because you're recording from your screen, not from the live chat.
No, I'm
Is
recording
that
from.
correct?
No, I'm recording from the screen that is displayed on Discord, so it will be this bad.
Oh. Even on your own camera. Oh yeah, because you've got your phone. Your phone's.
But you know
Okay,
what?
no,
Look,
using
that
it
actually looks alright.
real close like that is fine. That's fine. That's
Cool.
fine.
Yeah, when you shove it right up there.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
You gotta,
No,
Alright.
I think we should point out that we're really grateful for CB for giving us the opportunity to actually take a look at this earlier. You know, we're being considered up there with Maya, some bigger names in it, Dizabai and Mayacast and all that sort of thing. But unfortunately, due to lockdown, the only people that have been able to see this in Loss of Lieutenant, which I cannot express my disappointment in, is Nick and Kev.
That's right.
Because Nick got it
I've-
delivered and Kev went over to steal it on his way home from work.
That's right.
Yeah, we still managed to break it though.
Yeah. So
To be honest, I kept thinking about it and I was like, good.
managed to break
Like,
it.
we may as well break, this thing we got for free, just so that people know like how far to ever push their mini.
Yeah.
And like yeah, it's great. They sent this out to a whole bunch of different people. Ours arrived, because we are literally on the other side of the planet. Ours arrived a little bit later than everyone else's, and had to stay in quarantine. What do they call it?
I do wonder whether everyone, or like all the other podcasts and stuff, were like us, because I think as soon as we got the information from Corvus Belly, the first thing we were thinking was, okay, so we need to try and melt this thing, as well as see how, like, we were thinking about is putting it through stress tests.
And so we do have a bunch of tests we do want to perform on this thing yet, which we will get to. But obviously, with the current restrictions, it's been a bit difficult for us to produce any of that type of content, which is why we're having this live chat now to try and get something out there, so we can sort of put our 2 cents in the bowl while it's still spicy. So I mean. And we may as well just start having a chat about it, right? You can go on and the guys at Mayacast did a really great video that they posted which is in much better high definition than what you're going to get from us right now, of a close up of all the pieces and cleaning it up. Kev has already done a bit of a cleanup on this model, and I've had a bit of a play around with it myself. We've had some really close looks. Personally, I'm pretty happy with it, right? In terms of the detail on the model, I've got the Yujing newer remotes, the metal ones, behind me somewhere. These ones here.
So I think
I've compared them to these, and it's very, very similar. There are a few bits on the plastic model that are a bit less detailed than I would like, which I wanted to don't cut your finger off, Kev, for goodness.
Oh, it's alright. It's all part of the live show. I think what I'll do while you're chatting is I'll just try to show the listener, the viewers, whatever, while we're going through it, just to kind of give you a bit of a, a bit more of a close up. Because if
you can do that as close to the camera as possible, Kev. Because if you're that close, it focuses on it really well, and you can see all the lines and everything.
So
if you're any further away than that, it's a bit rough.
Let's get the light on this thing. That's probably going to be helpful too, right? Let's get the light on this thing. Ooh, my camera's over there. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some shadow. Let's get rid of that shadow.
Yeah. So the model we've got here, one thing that I wanted to mention as well, which I thought was pretty interesting, was that the one that we've got here, this is the whole body piece with the head attached already. So this is one single mold. And then the model that then Bostria shows in the studio update, which they recently published, has the body and the head as two separate pieces, and he confirmed that the head separate is the final design. Which I thought that was pretty interesting for them to send out the model that they sent out to everyone to do the reviews and talk about this new innovation that they're doing. The one that they sent out is not the final design.
Yeah, so I think what I pointed out, what I noticed, and might be the reason why they've separated it, is if you look on this side here, I'll try and point out with the needle file, is you've got these little get it right, get the resolution right, Kevin. Oh God, okay, so
move the file out because it's trying to focus on the file.
Okay,
just move the file away and
right.
bring
So
the time a bit
fair
closer.
enough. Yeah, so you'll see these hexagons. So you'll see them there. You'll see them the indented ones and the ones that are embossed or whatever, right? But then you come over to the other side, and you'll notice that they are not as clear. And at the bottom, so I'll just point to it really quickly. At the bottom here, it's kind of rough, like something's gone wrong with the.
It's like smudged or like.
Kind of like what you get on like on
it...
some resin miniatures. So I've seen it on like Mantic's miniatures. I've seen it on early Finecast where it's just kind of there's no detail there. It's just gone. The detail's gone, and for some reason. So that's maybe, and it's around the area where they've kind of pulled it out. So maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe now if they remove this guy, then the injection mold will get into these crevices better. Maybe, I don't know if that's the reason for it, but it might make sense.
Yeah, and that's what Ben's just added in the chat as well, that they've been having issues with loss of detail on the face in the samples, so it seems they've decided to have the face separate on the actual production, which makes sense, and that's kind of what we're seeing there, in that really the only part of the model that we experienced any issues with in terms of loss of detail is that one section where the head meets the body.
Okay, I want to just show you something really quickly. So Nick broke this leg, and I'm just going to glue it back on. This was broken pretty cleanly, and I'm just going to glue it right back on again.
And for anyone who hasn't heard of it,
and the leg's back on again.
For anyone who hasn't heard of it, these things still need super glue, so no need to go out and get plastic glue because it won't work.
You can't see it. It's very clean. It's a very clean cut.
Yeah, so when I posted that video on our Facebook page where I just had it in my hand in front of my microwave, right, where I was wobbling it around. It was not long after that I snapped the leg.
See, it's like totally not falling off. Oops.
This plastic is, I don't know if soft is the right word, but it bends a lot more than I expected. Right?
And
it does snap back into place, right? It goes back. Oh yeah, you broke that.
I broke that bit. I broke that bit, and I'm going to glue that bit on as well, just to show our listeners, viewers, that it will go back on. That's the wrong. Oh, is that the right bit? Is that the wrong bit? I don't know. I haven't got all the flash off this yet as well either, so apologies in advance. But
I guess you could call this material, in like the material sense of the word, it's tough. It can take a decent amount of bending, and it goes back too.
When it snapped, right, the section, the break point was still very clean, and as Kev's showing by putting it back together, goes back in and like snaps back into the bits that broke off as if it was never broken.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So if you do break it, it goes back together real well. My concern about the bendiness of it is once you've got paint on that, and if it bends after you've got paint on, is the paint going to flake off? Obviously, when I mentioned that to Kev, he did then tell me that, well, if you've got this thing glued onto a base, it's not going to be able to move that way, which definitely makes sense. But it's still just a bit of a concern I have.
Yep.
That's true for the Volostock, but not for anything that's standing on two legs with an arm out or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like the tags, for example, tags.
Yeah. And talking about braking as well, people have already been concerned about the gun breaking off its muzzle, and it already has broken off. And so much so, we can't even find it. It's gone. We've lost it.
Yeah, the gun had like a suppressor that was maybe half a centimeter long, coming off the end of the I don't know, the muzzle part there.
Yeah.
When it arrived, that had already broken in transit. So that suppressor piece was floating around in the box. When I handed it over to Kev, that suppressor piece was no longer floating around in the box. It's now floating around somewhere in my house.
Yeah, she gone. Gone. So I wanted to mention something about cleaning up that people have been, CB have been very clear about from the onset, which was not to use these guys, not to use needle files. However, this needle file has been pretty decent at cleaning up this model, so you probably can't see it, but I've gotten rid of the mold lines on this leg. And it's done pretty cleanly, and that was with a needle file. You can sort of see it, it's like sort of burnished, it's sort of slightly shinier, I guess, but I reckon with a coat of paint you wouldn't notice that. And I've tried a couple of different needle files, and they all seem to do the same job, so I don't know if maybe some people are just using very coarse needle files, but I felt like it was pretty good.
Because, I mean, the idea behind that being, Kev, that instead of using a file, you want to use like a scalpel blade to slice off the line, or then buff it with sandpaper. Is that correct?
No, I think the idea that CB is giving is just to use sanding sticks, because I think the other thing they said is not to do what you would do with maybe a G-dub against workshop model, which is you can just get a scalpel and run it along the mold line, and it'll come off really cleanly. I think there was a video that was done on WGC Infinity where he did that, and it sort of like peeled, what like wool clothing does.
So
I think the scalpel's the worst one for it.
So how about so I'll just try to, I mean, not to obviously I've got this model in my hand, so I can sort of talk about it as I'm doing it maybe. But yeah, you're dead right. It's it's a lot softer, this plastic, so it doesn't, like you say, come off cleanly when you use the blade. It kind of likes to stick to the blade. It kind of likes to stick to the model. Like, I'm just gonna run this like along here like this, and you won't really be able to see it very well, I don't think, but it's just kind of rough on the edge. But a sanding stick, I don't know where you get a sanding stick from. I've never used one before. I am not about to go and buy one, so I'm just gonna go use needle files, and they work just fine. So anyone out there who's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to change all my gear I use for cleaning up models, I don't think you will, with the exception of maybe the scalpel or Stanley knife. You might just have to be a bit more careful with that. Like, you still use it for getting rid of the flash. Like, where's an example here? You can definitely still use that to get rid of the flash here. On this side here, just cut it straight off. It's fine, and then you can just kind of tidy it up with the needle file. But like you say, Jacob, yeah, I think if you're going to run your blade across the model, like to get rid of the mold lines, that doesn't seem to work. But it's not something I ever did with metal anyway, so it's not something I'm going to carry on doing now. I think whatever you used to do with metal works with this, except for hitting it with a wire brush. Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
She'll get scratched up real good.
I think anyone, because like sanding sticks aren't the easiest thing to find. They're not horrible. You find plenty of like Asian brand ones and stuff like that. But if you want something to sort of tide you over, there are plenty of nail files that are like super high grit on foam cards sort of thing. So you can easily get that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Anyone who's having issues with seeing the video, just come off and on the chat, and it tends to work. There's some issues with Discord I've found often. Something else I wanted to point out about this model that I quite like is is the way the gun goes into the side of the Vostok. So, um, it's got like a decent sized nubby thing here. Where the fuck? There. It's quite a decent size. But it's also got this like kind of almost what you might even call flash, like kind of weird, like I don't know, mold lines around it. Which to the the sort of eye that's sort of just cleaning stuff up, you might think, oh, that's just a mistake in the manufacturing process. I'll get rid of that. Don't, because it's actually helps to mold it to the body of the remote, so you end up with a nice clean join. God, trying to left to go right, right to go left. If you can see that, probably not.
Yeah, no, that looks good. Yeah,
Cool, right.
no, that's good.
So I'd say that's quite nice, and I don't know if that was ever something they did with metal or not. They probably did, but it's quite a nice fit on both of the bits, both of the sides.
There was one thing I was noticing in the pictures that they gave, like during the seminars and stuff, and I was wondering if you could take a look for me, Kev. You got it in your hands. I think on the legs, they've got a part that's like they've got a panel that has like an X through it.
Yes, they've got a few panels with X's through it.
Yeah, are those X's straight?
Um,
Because I noticed in their picture, the metal ones had like nice, sharp, straight edges, while as in on the plastic ones seemed to have like it would tape and it looked a bit wonky. But they also had put paint on them, so it could just be bad paint.
okay. No, this one here is maybe not fully formed on the bottom of the X.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Bring it a
it.
bit closer, Kev. Bring it a bit closer. Perfect.
Actually, no. That's not focusing?
Almost.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah, it's still too blurry to tell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's like it's not quite fully formed, but I don't think that's an issue. You start looking for perfection, you'll just find disappointment. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this guy together because fucking that's what we're here for, right? Let's do this. There's still some flash on here, but whatever. We're gonna melt them down to nothing, so who cares? Now, actually, see
We are going to put this model in the oven until it gets to a certain temperature where it is unrecognizable. So we'll get there.
these legs seem to go on, either way. Like you can have them on this way, or you can have them on the other way. So I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way, but it's done now. I think this is right because that looks like the.
It's like all the other like four pinion remotes. If it goes together and it feels good, then it's right.
If it feels good, then it's probably doing it right. So something I want to point out on this model, and again, it's probably just me being an idiot, but see how there's like a nice big groove cut in here. There you go. Right, big old groove cut in there, and then that's the bit where you put the fucking legs in is there. So it's quite like nicely formed. Like no need to carve that out or nothing like that. So that's quite nice as well. That'll go in there like this. And there we have it. He's just a naked Vostok with his leggies, with no guns yet. Look at that.
Front legs, or are those the back legs?
These are the front legs because the back legs are chunkier.
Right.
Wouldn't the front legs be chunkier?
Don't tell me what to do.
No, I'm just asking.
I mean,
Because from most of the models, don't like the front legs have like more armor plating on them or something?
I think the main thing is that most of those four-legged ones, the back legs are taller because they're all sort of like looking down.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be because like the back legs stick up more.
So it doesn't go on the other way?
Yeah, you see that? So it wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I could try fitting it that way. You know what? Can I? Here you go. Test. Here's a test. Fucking okay, yeah, bastard. There we go. No, he wouldn't go that way. He'd end up looking a bit.
Okay.
I mean, that came off pretty easily. It already taken
I
a
mean,
bond.
you barely held it there for a second, so.
Yeah, it held. It was bonded pretty well already, so that's nice. All right, I'll just chuck this guy in here. Chuck this guy in here.
Oh, yeah.
You can also just pay attention to how badly I'm at modeling. And actually something I was thinking about last night is this is quite good for people who aren't very good at like miniature, like modeling. Like I always see people like spend so much time getting rid of mold lines on their miniatures and all the little imperfections and putting the arm joint in so it fits perfectly so there's no gaps when they paint it. For me personally,
That is not me at
no,
all.
exactly.
I think like if the arm isn't a perfect fit, I just add more glue.
Yeah, me too. And I think because 99% of the time, no one's looking that closely, right? No one's paying attention to that little mold line on the rifle that you got rid of. No one gives a shit. So I think, for this model, the little amount of work I put into it, would be pretty good. I mean, obviously, I don't speak for everybody. I'm just saying, like, if you're not into that kind of thing, then I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with this model.
Well, I
So,
suppose in your opinion, if you were into that sort of thing, do you think that this would make it
no,
any more difficult to clean up?
no. Well, I think you would. I think you would be a bit. You wouldn't be as happy. I think the detail and the I don't know what you can do to a miniature model to clean it up and stuff is just more precise, more
On a
artist.
metal miniature.
Yeah, on a metal miniature, there's just like you can be a bit more precise with your cuts and your cleaning, and it's tidier and it's nice to run a like a wire brush over it to make it all shiny and clean and stuff. Whereas this model, you're gonna be fighting harder to get all the edges sharp and clean and stuff, because of the softness, the general softness of the model. Like I can run my finger on it and it just feels, like just doing this with my finger. I mean, I guess with maybe G-Dub miniatures, but I think they're harder. Like even me just scraping it with my fingernail.
Well,
I've already put
It's
some battle
definitely
damage on it. There's already some
it's
battle damage
definitely
on it now.
the softest kind of plastic I've ever encountered. Played I've played around with plastic miniatures from loads of different companies. This is the softest stuff I've ever
Yeah.
uh,
and
encountered.
that was one thing I was wondering. Would would any of you be like concerned, upset, or worried if they went for a a plastic that was closer to like resin or like GW plastic in terms of the fact that it's maybe just a little bit more brittle, but it
I
was
think
like harder?
they've come, and one thing that Austria said in the what's it called, the studio update, was that one of the reasons why they landed on this type of plastic is because the design and the production of how you actually make that using the molds and things like
Was
that
similar.
is very, very similar to what they already do with metal. So the fact that from a sculpting perspective, from a mold creation and utilization perspective and production side of things, making this stuff with this material is so similar to what they already do with metal means that their job is much easier than going to some completely new type of technology or new type of method that they've never done before.
Yeah, well, and then the reason I asked that is in the initial form. Oh, fucking. Well, there you go. Probably, if it was a metal model that had just been glued together, you probably would have knocked a piece off at that point. So that's pretty good. But
Sorry.
what
I'm enjoying
podcast
this.
gets a free like first model, and we're just like, let's break it.
Yeah, tonight on Does It Bounce?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So someone on the very initial forum post for this thermoplastic stuff came on and introduced himself as, I don't know if you guys saw it, as a guy. He was either a doctor or had a master's in material engineering.
All
See
right.
that, yeah.
Don't know.
And, well, he actually provided a lot of a lot of good context
Oh
for
yes, I saw
the
that.
sort of material that they're actually using um, in this processing method. And so he mentioned the fact that if CB wanted, and again, I'm talking with a little bit of ignorance, only really based on this post, they could take the same sort of thermoplastic that maybe when it cures is harder and more brittle compared to the one they've got now, which is a bit more rubbery.
Yeah, rubbery is a good way of putting it. Honestly, it is rubbery, rubbery,
So
chewy.
there's a
Chewy.
potential with enough feedback that they might go and get, instead of, I think this one's like P something 6, they get a different number that's, you know, that's harder but is more yeah, again, is more brittle. So
Yeah.
it's closer to, like, either it's closer to that metal or that GW plastic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, it also went down on the base because some people were saying it wasn't going down evenly. This went down pretty evenly. All
Oh,
three out of the four legs have stuck to the base. This one's not quite, but he's fine.
in all honesty, I mean, that's not a complaint with plastic. I've got metal remotes that didn't sit properly.
Yeah,
I
well, the
think
metal ones,
my
the metal.
CA ones didn't sit properly either.
No, the metal, but yeah, the metal ones don't sit properly
Mate,
because you can bend them.
if it doesn't sit flat, you just put on more glue.
Yep, just push it down.
Eventually, the glue's going to get all the way to the base. It'll fill that little
Yeah,
gap there. That's
yeah.
how
What's
it's
it called?
done.
Zappa Gap is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Zappa gap. Yeah. So, is there anything else that people? Is there anything what people want me to want to see that I haven't already
Oh
shown
yeah,
them?
hold on. There was actually some questions, and I was going to see. There was. Uh,
I'm coming for you with my mimetism neg 6 Mark 12. Fuck you. Ah.
how well Prime is
Sorry.
We've got a question
So
for,
Mike has pretty much asked about have we heard anything about how paint goes on it?
It's a great
I think
question.
again I think in the
You guys talk amongst
original,
yourself. I'm gonna just go prime this bitch.
yeah, I think in the original again in the original forum post,
Oh, hang on,
CB
actually, I
or
can take
someone
this with
mentioned
me.
that
I
there
can
shouldn't have
transport.
been
I have the
there shouldn't be
technology.
an issue with
I'm just
primer.
gonna,
It should
I'm
go
just
on
gonna
just
mute
the same.
myself so I don't get feedback on this.
okay, great. Yeah, so Kev's just going to take the model with him and go prime it straight away. So we'll see how it looks once it's got a bit of
Yeah,
paint on it.
and
And I
Kev,
think, can he
just
hear us still? I don't think he can
yeah.
hear us.
Oh, I'll ask him when he gets back whether he's put it. I'm assuming he hasn't put it through like Dettol or anything like
No,
that.
we haven't done anything like that.
Okay, right. So this is pure as it comes, guys. So Mike, with your preparation, giving those micro abrasions, this is even less than that. Again, I think.
Sorry, I just have to take the video off for a second while I figure out why I can't get this thing to work. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll just leave it and then.
We don't need to hear you, Kev,
That's a good point.
while you're spray painting.
That is a good point.
You just go and then come back, and
All right.
we'll carry it while you're
Okay.
gone. But in terms of the general detail, I was very pleased with it, and you can tell from the photos that they put up comparing their like test model that they have of, the test model of Stephen Rao or whatever his name is. That's like the test model that they've used for a whole bunch of different methods and different materials, right? Comparing that model with this CO customer plastics next to the stuff that you get from China, that they've gotten from China previously for the Aristea models, the difference is night and day, right?
Yeah.
Wait, has Kev still got his speaker on? He's still mic'd up, but he's just turned the video off. Is that what he's done?
I don't want to mute him because then I can't hear if he comes back.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. I think he just
There you
closed.
go.
I think he might have just closed the door. That's okay.
We've
We'll
got the
live.
we've got the comparison photo now up in the chat. And it's so
Yes,
good.
that one. Like, yeah,
So
the
good.
difference there, and obviously that's just a screenshot from the YouTube video, right? Boschry has sent us some photos of that in HD, and so we've seen it even better detail than what you've got there,
Yeah,
and
we've seen right up.
you can really tell that it's different. And when you look at like the detail in the treads and like underneath the front of the model, apart from that one issue that we saw where the head meets the body, everything else compared to the metal remotes that we compared it side by side with looks the same. And once you put a base coat of paint on there, it's going to look even more the same, because that's what I find, particularly when I look at stuff. Looking at it raw is a bit tricky on the eye, whereas once you put even just a prime or base coat of paint on there, it really does change the whole aspect of looking at the of the model.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. They don't make RAW anymore. When we spoke to Bostria, he said that's pretty much their go-to test model for anything. So they just obviously still have whatever files they have to make him, and they just, whenever they do a new technique or new whatever, that's their test model. I don't know if you want to talk about this, because it's sort of been talked to death, but there's the question of if the quality significantly dropped when they went to plastic, would we still play Infinity? And to be honest, I think that's one of those questions where it's like one of those questions that I don't really feel like thinking about, because it's almost like a nightmare.
Well, I mean, the thing is, right? The question that you asked, it's a bit of a shit question, in that you've asked, if the quality dropped significantly, would we still play? Well, I mean, do we even need to be asking if the quality is going to be dropping significantly based on what we've seen? Like, even if this is maybe a slight step down, the models go from a 10 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10, right? They're only doing this for certain models, the real big ones, the ones that obviously are huge, would take a lot of metal to make, right? Whereas the rest of the range is still staying in metal. They're not changing S2. They're not changing anything else apart from like remotes and tags for now. I think the other thing we have to consider is if in 5 years' time, after they've had massive success with these plastic models, do they then start moving into S2 models in plastics, and then what happens then?
Yeah, I mean the question of if the quality went down, will we stop playing? You may as well be asking, if CB got bought out by a company that fucked with their production quality, would we keep playing? It's not happening, so
it's a bit of a it's a bit of a moot point in my opinion, because like I don't CB really do pride themselves on their sculpts, and they want to produce something that's of the utmost quality, and that's one of the things that is a big draw card for the game, is that they do have amazing miniatures and amazing sculpts. And I don't think they're going to do anything to compromise that. And one of the reasons why they've been looking at this stuff for over a year, right? They've been testing out all different materials and all different methods to come up with something that is going to give them the result that is as close as possible to what they're producing right now in metal, but in a way that's not as expensive on the raw material cost. And sorry, Obiscus has said in the chat there that Bostria said the bear would be in the plastic as well. Yeah, definitely. That's a bigger model. Sorry, I misspoke before saying it was just the modes and tags. Anything they said bigger models, right? So like over S2.
And yeah, and we've seen that they've tested and found out what they're comfortable with molding now. So yeah, the what would it be? Probably S. Oh, well, that one's an S4.
S4. So
yeah. I'd probably say S4, because they're so wide. Maybe S5s, maybe not. But then S6s and S7s will be done in this stuff.
I mean, there's no point us speculating because we don't have any information.
Yeah. We like, while we know we knew stuff earlier, honestly, guys, we don't know that much more than you.
And it looks like Kev's come back in from the darkness. Have you got your other phone camera back on, Kev? Or
No, not yet. I'm just letting the miniature dry because I don't want to bring the stinky paint into my hobby room. So I'm just going to give that a few minutes. I'm currently firing up the oven, set to a cool 60 degrees Celsius, which is the hottest. I actually researched this as well last night. The hottest recorded temperature in a car in Australia has been 58.6 degrees. So I'm heating up to 60, and we'll see what happens.
that's really, I thought it would get hotter than that.
Well, I mean, the hottest recorded, 58.6.
That's lower than I thought.
This was performed by the RACQ in a summer's day in Brisbane. 2 cars in a car park. I don't think they were in the shade. No, they weren't in the shade. So they wanted to see if a black car or a white car would get hotter, and it turns out they got to the same temperature because it doesn't matter. The windows is what does it.
Yeah, and when we first heard about this, I actually went and took a look, and this I can only see these plastics getting better as time goes on, partly because the production method that they're using at the moment is, in the scheme of things, relatively new. When I was taking a look through their news, they only had like them going out to trade fairs in early 2019, the Siocast guys. So while it's obviously pretty mature technology, there's probably still room for improvement. And given that CB is in Spain, Siocast is in Spain, I would imagine that as soon as these guys make an improvement, CB is going to get it and roll with it.
Yeah, agreed.
I have every confidence that this is going to be a good move for them, and it's not going to be anything that is, detrimental to the people who play Infinity because the miniatures look so good. The only thing we can't help, and I saw it on the forum, which was an interesting take, is the fact that, unfortunately, if you like playing with metal miniatures simply for the fact that they are more weighty in the hand, sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Someone on the forum was literally like, I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah.
And they were asked why. It's like, the metal miniatures, I just like the feel of them better.
Yeah, I know, and I saw the similar argument, and I'm like, yeah, cool, that can be a preference, but that's not a reason to do something or not do something, right?
For some people.
I
mean, if you really want, Mike was asking before, that little void that you were showing on the base, do you reckon you could put something in there?
Well, you could just
add weight to add weight to the mini, which I can understand.
Well, can't you just? Oh, actually, no, you're right. On the new bases, they've got the little. Just chuck a fucking coin underneath the base. There you go. That's added a few.
Yeah, I mean, if it's really hurting, go and get tiny titanium coins and.
Yeah. A little bit of tungsten. A little bit of tungsten.
Tungsten, yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, tungsten.
Yeah, I mean, the feel is a thing, but it's not why we play the game, right? I mean, okay,
apparently it is for one person on the forum.
Yeah, I mean, there's different reasons why we play the game, right? I got into Infinity because I like the rule set, the miniatures are gorgeous, the backstory is great. I don't know which of those three I love the most, but they're all pretty good. Oh, Vizzy, what's that? Is that a magnet or something? Yeah, so he's just put some.
I might have him muted. Hold on.
He's just put some weight. He's just put some weight underneath the base, but.
I do have him muted. Go ahead, Vizzy. If you got a mic, we can hear. We should be able to hear you now.
Nope, still can't.
No.
So.
I have him muted.
But I mean, that's a very minor part of the hobby.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, yeah, so this is Fractor, obviously. They're not the most amazingly weighted models. So yeah, magnets, of course, for transport, but that's the white metal sprues.
Mm.
Chuck them underneath to counter the weight of the Ford model.
Uh,
But yeah, if you, I love metal minis because obviously the weight, I like the weight of them. So yeah, that's what I do. I always put something underneath my plastic minis because I hate how light they are.
talk to people who played like second and third edition Warhammer and the old Space Marine Dreadnought.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Those are almost universally hated for how heavy they were.
And yeah, welcome to the podcast as well, Vizzy. Thanks for supporting.
Yeah, that's it. Honorable LOL member now.
Oh no, he'll be getting in trouble with the guys at Transmission Matrix for that one. He'll get Chris knocking on your door, going, "Oi, I heard you were those boys. I heard you're from Melbourne now."
Yeah, heard you come to the #1 Australian podcast.
That's right. That's us for now.
So, Kev, is that model ready to be brought
Yeah.
into the cold?
Yeah.
If you're cold, they're cold. Let them inside.
Yeah. I saw that meme earlier, and it was like a picture of a what do you call them? Not a ferret. What are those things called? Possum. And I was like, yeah, cool. You want that thing inside your house? Awesome. All right, I'll be right back, guys.
The other thing I'm pretty keen about is the bases that CB are going to be bringing out.
Yeah,
I think
they previewed during the
pretty
seminar.
cute. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of that stuff on the market already, but I mean, I've no reason not to like even more of it coming on board. So
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it'll be nice to see, like, because I've got I got some like pre-made bases for my TAC. But it would be nice to have one of those printed bases that have CB's line of sight markers on them.
I mean, like my line of sight markers are just written on with the texter. But
All right, you can hear me?
I know you can actually just do them.
Yeah, we got you
the
back there,
CB
Kev.
ones
Yeah.
are really nice.
Yeah, Kev, we got you back now.
Cool. Hopefully this works. All right, let's focus this thing.
What color did you spray that?
Hang on. I gave it a coat of the good shit.
Right.
Some Wraithbone from G-Dub because I like that color. So
Gonna hit this bad boy with some contrast paints. Hey.
maybe I just felt like a lighter color would be good for showing the detail. Like a black color in this light would probably be pretty bad.
Is it how dry is it now? I'm assuming not very.
Yeah, it's dry.
You got a dry paintbrush there?
Yeah, sure. Do you want, what color do you want to me hit it with?
No. I don't want you to put a color. Well, you can put on a color first. I just want to see if you get a dry paintbrush and just, not too hard. Just rub it against one of the
like a dry brush.
One of the panels.
Oh, I'll get a dry brush.
Yeah, like a dry brush. Just see if the primer holds onto it. That was the question that was asked: is how well does the primer hold on?
That's it. That's not very dry. There we go.
Right.
Here's my coarsest brush. Like this is pretty coarse.
Okay.
This is probably gonna actually tear it off. That's too coarse. This is an unnecessary
Yeah, this is a bit.
Give me the coarsest brush you have. It's too coarse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Kev just goes out and gets a wire brush. It's like, oh, it came off.
well, I mean, like I can even use my fingernail. Yeah, I mean, sure, like it comes off like everything else would, but it's pretty good. You cannot because you can still feel that kind of rubberiness underneath it, obviously. So it's still, it feels like it's kind of it's probably not fully cured either, but it feels like you've undercoated a plastic miniature, right? That's all it really feels like. It's the same as that. If you've done G-Dub or Malifaux, it holds pretty well. Yeah, it's good.
Here's one thing that, and this is, I guess, a question for you guys, but also for the chat. Whenever people talk about the glue that's supposed to be used with these ones, they always mention a very specific super glue. I think it's the
chronoceliate. I think that's the Americans. Isn't it just the Americans talking? Like, doesn't everyone
Yeah,
else just call it super glue?
is that a specific super glue? Is there a different type of super glue, or is that just like the chemical name for super glue?
Is there an American in the audience that can help us answer that
Or
question, or a Canadian, or
anyone? I don't care.
What does cyanoacrylate
Yeah, it's an acrylate.
so
chemical names specifically? Thank
why
you,
why
Izzy.
Right.
isn't that right? Why do we have to have that?
No, no, no. I'm not saying it's right. I just want just that like for me, I would never say cyanoacrylate. I just say super glue.
Exactly, yeah. So why?
So
Yeah,
this is me just trying to clear up
like
some
okay,
ignorance
this
for it.
contains the active ingredient is cyanacrylate, but I'm also like, yeah, like you said, who else? What other type of super glue is there? Is there another one that we just don't know about?
Well, I mean, I guess they're trying to make the difference between plastic cement. But
Well, you just say plastic glue or super glue, or if you say super glue and glue, then people tend to know what you're talking about, right? Or am I an
and
idiot?
I mean, if you're whipping out a glue stick or PVC to try and stick it together, you're going to have a bad time.
Right. Okay. I feel like
Like, yeah, and well, I mean, like, I think the real question is like when people say like the two glues that people talk about are super glue and plastic glue, right? Plastic glue being plastic cement.
yeah, yeah.
That will not work with this stuff.
No, it will not work. You're correct.
So I think the distinction there has to be made that the glue that you're using is not plastic glue.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
I think for most of us gamers out there, there are two types of glue, like you just mentioned. So it's the strong one. It's the one that you don't want to get in your eyes.
The one that you don't put on your fingers.
Yeah,
Because they stay together after that.
And yeah, so most people are coming out and just saying it's like the US name. It's the same thing as how people used to call Vizzy wrote up a new ones where pens used to be called biros or a bic instead of just a pen.
a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, because Australians are fucking terrible.
Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to cover on this model then, or was still here, Kev?
I don't know. I could
So
like
thanks, Vizzy.
chuck it in the oven, or I could hit it with some paint, or I could.
You don't have any cleaning stuff, do you? Now that you've painted it, can you go and strip it?
I mean, I might wait for the paint to seal a bit first.
Because that's one thing I wanted to do, just to make sure that isopropyl doesn't hurt it, and that you can dump it in simple green, or you can dump it in.
What's Julian's new favorite? That brewer's yeast or something?
Brewers, brewing brew clean.
Yeah,
I've got
it.
some brew clean in the house actually. I didn't think about using it before.
I did one of the worst things once because it just stunk. It was awful. I was trying to get paint off what I now realize was stained plastic, and so I kept looking through forums of like, what's the most like caustic thing you can put on plastic miniatures to get paint off without destroying it, and decided to go and get .4 brake fluid.
Oh, that'll fuck it.
Right.
Do you want me to put some? Do you want me to chuck some
Don't
paint
do
on
it,
this
anybody.
thing? Do you want me just to chuck some
Yeah.
a little bit of contrast on it, just because I'm like a hipster? Well, not hipster. I'm a G-Dub fanboy, just like that. And red and nomad colors. Actually, or does anyone got like a particular color they want me to hit it with? Actually, no. I'm not going to ask that because I'll end up getting pink, which is fine. Nothing wrong with pink, but I don't have a pink, so you're not going to get it.
We've got one vote for mauve, another vote for red. I think red's the way to go, Kev.
Red for nomad. All right, let's just
Yeah, there you go.
one thick coat, as they say.
No, it's supposed to be two thin coats.
No, not with contrast.
No, yeah, it's contrast. Work better. They say one thick coat, but it's actually two thin coats is better.
Yeah.
I painted all my stuff that I painted in the past 3 years. Since contrast come out, I've used them almost exclusively. So,
I mean, hell, for getting something on the table, and having seen the results you get, especially on Infinity models, it's interesting the fact that GW made a painting product that ultimately works better on almost anything else other than GW.
Oh, because of all the flat, it's flat,
no,
flat
it's,
surfaces.
yeah, it's not that anything other than GW. It's just that it's just not the best for Space Marines.
Yeah. Or
Well,
the
I mean,
massive
Right?
models.
GW, like, yeah, anything that's not just flat armor plates. It works great.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of that, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean
and that's it,
this Vostok
right?
has got a lot of flat bits, so we'll see how this goes. It's already a little bit thingy, but that's all right. I don't really care. This thing is gonna get raffled off, or melted, or both. Right?
Broken, badly painted Vostok.
Yeah, it'll go on eBay.
$100.
It'll go on eBay for. That's like the
I
friendly Geordies
don't know,
episode.
I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know if the melted
The
what
melted
was it, the Riptide.
Riptide, yeah,
Yeah,
melted
yeah.
Riptide.
I don't know if anyone's been on the Australian Infinity chat lately, looking at some of the eBay auctions for some rare or out of production Toha models.
The Gorgos.
Did anyone see the final price for that Gorgos?
Big titty Gorgos for $400 or something.
That's the last time I saw it, but it still had a couple of hours left when I last saw it.
Why so expensive? I mean, that's just a ridiculous amount of money. Like, why? Like, people aren't bidding for that. People just be like, "I'll just not take a Gorgos then, thanks. I'll just wait for it to be resculpted or something, or I'll whatever."
But no, that was the thing though. That was bids. It had like 11 bids and gotten up to over $300.
Yeah, it was. People wanted it. Yeah.
People are crazy.
And then I wanted a Gorgos pilot, but I am not paying the 100.
Sorry, it's wet, so it won't look very good.
Yeah, 100 plus.
Oops. Oh no.
US. Fuck's sake.
It's so much lighter.
Hey.
It's so much lighter.
But, right, this thing is going to bounce so much better than any metal miniature that you own. So if you drop this thing, it'll just bounce straight back up. You can catch it again.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a Caronted, and
Yeah.
you know, like it.
Yeah,
It
drop the Caronted from 6 inches, Ken.
You know,
See what
and then
happens.
this guy, he just loves to
The
dance.
pieces will fly off in every
This
direction.
guy loves to dance. Yeah, and I am notorious butterfingers, so I'm glad that this guy just kind of, just kind of boop boop. He's happy.
Yeah. The only problem I have is with him not being shiny is now when I drop the tiniest fucking piece of it on the floor, it'll take me forever to find it.
Yeah, you can't shiny
It doesn't really have small pieces though.
This one doesn't.
Yeah. No. Let's. So I painted a bit of red there, and it's like with the contrast, it's a big flat area, so it doesn't look as good. But yeah, no complaints here.
Serendipity, we did take a look at because we broke our Vostok in 2 places.
Yeah,
and it breaks pretty, like if you break actually like a limb off, not just a gap, not just like a joint, it seems to break fairly cleanly.
Yeah, I mean,
like
here's an example.
It's a straight line.
Oh.
Don't do it, Kev. Don't do it.
Oh. Well, he didn't break. He didn't break. He just bent. He bent real good. Yeah. Bent real good.
Why? I'd stop it. It's like you're pissing me off now. I don't know. I'm getting irrationally angry at you. Stop it.
Look at that. It's good. It's good. It's good. And like give him a little bit of a squeeze. What else can I break? I can't break anything off now. It's kind of attached to everything.
We're doing this. We're doing this to this model. We're bending it and putting it through its paces. Ultimately, everybody who's listening now, when you get the first tag that comes out, or you get the first
it's pretty good.
bear poke that comes
really
out,
fucking good.
You're not going to sit there and go, I wonder how much I can bend the arm of this bear, or how much can I, bend, this thing's limbs or this thing's guns.
Oh, that's going. That's going. Oh, it's going.
You got it.
It's going. It's gone. It's gone. Okay, so for the people who are watching this afterwards on the video, I forgot to make it full screen. So when I was like mucking around with it there before, it was in a small screen. But I've finally broken it. So that took a lot of bending. Like the leg didn't take much bending. This bit bent and broke off real quick.
So hold on. That there's actually broken. Like
yes.
The plastic is snapped, it's just
split.
You bent it out of shape.
No, it's split now.
Okay.
It's actually split. So if I'm just gonna go to completion on this thing. Oh, that's not a good break. That's a nastier break. Oh well.
I want to apologize to everybody who's watching, who's having like
Who wants to
near aneurysms
convert?
like I am.
I mean,
It's me. That's me. I don't like this.
is this supposed to be a Mark 12? So now you can put a missile launcher. I don't know what other gun has Vostok got. Red Fury, right? So now you can just make a new gun, easy. And I did this all without using tools.
I really hope if Carlos or anyone from CB ever sees this, that they're like, oh, cool, they're doing like the stress testing for us, not, in their, Spanish accents going like, what are they doing? We give them this model and they just break the fucking thing.
Okay, now to be fair, this was badly broken. Like I bent it a lot so that the join now is not very good together. But like just for the purposes of our audience, hey, look, I broke off my gun in transit. Oh, I'm an idiot. Let's just put this back on. Boop.
That's a good point, Kevin. It's been asked a couple times. Do you have any like big scraps from this?
No, I just got the model.
No,
I mean, this
Vostok.
Vostok.
The model came as the model with just the pieces for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
the gun is not in a good
hoping
shape. The gun is not happy. I'm sorry. The gun. I didn't do a good job. So this was not a good test. Nothing wrong with the model. I just the test was not a good test.
Just don't snap the gun in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It didn't snap. It didn't snap
okay.
cleanly. But that was after a lot of mucking around with it. So I think the first two tests that we would have shown earlier with the leg and the back of it, very good test, very clean break, went back on nice and easy. The gun was a bad test, so apologies for that.
Yeah, funnily enough, guys, is if you don't want your models to break, don't try and break them.
Mm-hmm.
That's good advice. Good advice.
Did you cut anything off the model with just like your metal clippers, Kev?
Yes, I did.
Did it clip okay?
Yep. So I think I left a little bit of flash on just for you, because I love cutting things. No, actually, I must have cut it off. Unless this bit at the back is supposed to be not part of the model. Actually, that looks.
Just give us.
Oh, here you go.
Just give us a general. Yeah.
I don't know, like this bit. There you go. That's gone.
Okay, so it comes off just like metal wood.
I mean, just like plastic wood. I think is probably more accurate.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, so I don't think you're going to have any problem with. Pliers. Vizzy did ask about a hobby saw, and I have no idea. The hobby saw might suffer the same as scraping it with a
I don't have a hobby
with the
saw.
side of an X-Acto blade.
Oh god, X-Acto blade. What are you, American? Get off this show.
What's an X-Acto blade?
It's what we call
Stanley knife.
Yeah, it's what we call Stanley knife because it's the brand, and they call it X-Acto blade because it's the brand. So I'm just
Right.
yeah.
Wait, hold on. What's the ones?
We call them.
What do you call that then?
I don't know. It's
A hobby knife.
hobby knife. Yeah.
Hobby knife, yeah, scalpel. Fair enough.
But
These are X-Acto blades.
this is a Stanley blade because it's made by Stanley, and that's all what you would call it. It's a Stanley. Cool. What else do we want to do before I chuck it in the oven?
I will.
I'm just gonna go chuck it in the oven. Do you want me to just chuck it in the oven? I'm just gonna chuck it in the oven.
Well, do we want to?
Vote in the chat.
Do you want to? Maybe we just finish up the video there, and then we'll film it in the oven and post that separately, so that we don't have to try and figure out how to do that.
Oh, I mean, not like literally. I won't have sound with me for some reason because when the phone only does push to talk. But I think I could probably figure this out.
No, that's what I mean. Like you just film it in the oven from your phone.
Oh yeah.
Separate from the live chat. So we finish up the live chat. Well, sorry, finish up the live video. Conclude that part, and then
why not?
As a separate.
Why not?
Why? Because it'll make it easier.
Well, I can just do it now, and then we can keep talking.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, it'll take me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna run
But then
upstairs
it won't be in potato definition as well.
Oh, you know, yeah,
And we also don't know how long it's going to have to sit in the oven. And we don't want to have to sit here watching it in the oven for
this is
20
true. We've
minutes.
probably gone on long enough. Does anyone want me just to? Yeah, okay. I guess we can do it in the oven later. That's fine. Yeah, and you just made me sad. I was really looking forward to chucking it in the oven.
No, do it. Just don't do it like right now. Do it in 5 minutes time. We'll
Okay.
wrap this up and then chuck it in the oven
Right,
and
well, do we want
see
to
what
throw it to
happens.
our audience and ask them if they got any more questions for either the Vostok
Yeah.
or just for us in general?
Oh, is it? We got some people typing, so we'll maybe get some extra questions here, and then we can wrap it up. So
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about hobby saw guys, so I don't know.
No.
I might see fingers super hard crossed if I can just get like a little plastic post or something garbage from CB, and we can take a look. Just sort of what it's like when you do a saw. I've got a Dremel as well with a grinding blade, so I can see whether a Dremel goes through it okay. We'll see. Don't get your hopes up, but you never know.
cool.
I'll
Yeah, well,
turn
it looks
around,
like
Kev.
it doesn't look like we've got any more questions on the coming through on the chat there. So
Cool.
we might wrap it up there. Thanks for listening. We'll get some high def footage of our
It melting.
brand new plastic Vostok in the oven to share with you all as well. So
Can't wait. Right. So, on that note, you've been listening.
Got all those unpainted miniatures in the background.
I know it's all most of it's Defiance as well.
Yeah, I can see the Qui-Gon or whatever his name is, Eugene,
Qui-Gon Jinn.
who'd
Yeah.
the HMG.
Yeah. Him. All right. Well, you've been listening to Lost Lieutenant. My name's Kevin.
my name's Nick.
I'm Jacob.
Peace out.
It's funny because you can't hear the music, but I can. I'm just vibing.
Oh.
All right. Oh, it was fun. Good.
Now, all those people that I had on mute for myself, I'll have to unmute them all now.
Cool. That was a smooth, just under 2 hours. So that was a short episode. Excellent.